both of us our freshman year in high school. He played varsity, I played varsity. I started varsity and I was leading the state of Georgia in scoring, probably averaging 27 as a freshman.
That's nuts.
So
in high school specifically, that's nuts.
Yeah,
Shorter games, and it's wild.
It was Nate Archibald, the point guard for the Knicks back in the day.
Okay.
So we went to this camp and he's like, dude, you're not fit for this. Like, you're not ready. Like, you can't play professional basketball and you just need to find a job. I was like, wow. Like, he just told me straight up like that, respectful guy. And I took that to heart. Like, I could have quit then, but my mentality, like, he don't know me. 2009, I won my first championship in Puerto Rico, and I think it was like 40 years since the last time they won one.
Wow.
And man, the time we won that one, I mean, they shut the whole city down for like 2 days. They didn't do nothing but party, parade. Wasn't no stores open. The restaurant was open, but like local business, all those local business was shut down.
That's
like
amazing.
And like, if I go back there today, everybody was treat me with that same respect that they remember in 2013 and 2009.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It sounds like an incredible experience.
It is.
From one of the top D1 basketball recruits in the nation to delivering FedEx packages for a living, it seemed like Carmelo Lee's basketball journey was over. Instead, he has since played 15 years professionally around the world with 3 championships along the way, and he's currently the director of one of the largest youth basketball associations in Austin with 34 different teams. To find out what the defining moment was, as well as life lessons he's learned around the world, be sure to tune in to today's episode, as well as like and subscribe if the story is meaningful to you, because it helps us share more stories just like his. Here's Carmelo Lee. So you're originally from Georgia, right? What did the basketball kind of scene look like for you there? When did you know you were interested young?
Growing up in Georgia, we just basically played outside every day. Watching my uncles and cousins play, I mean, it just became a passion and something that I wanted to do and I enjoyed playing. So just basically being around that atmosphere growing up as a kid, watching my uncles and cousins play sports really just brought the passion to me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what was your family dynamic like? You had siblings, you had sisters, right?
Yeah, I had 2 older sisters. My older sister, she played softball.
Okay.
And then my middle sister, she couldn't play sport because she had a heart problem. So she had to have open heart surgery when she was born. But she was a good basketball player as well. She always reminded me that she beat me playing basketball in a skirt. So it kind of humped me. I never like telling people that, but she won't let me forget it.
That'll drive you. I like that.
Exactly.
That's good. That's good.
So that kind of probably drew me, never let a girl beat me in sports again as a little kid.
That's awesome. That'll stick with you. I like it.
It did.
I like it. How young were you when you started to realize like you might be really good at basketball, that this is something you could play long term?
I started playing basketball like when I was 5. Like,
okay.
But I always had a good IQ of the game, or how to, if they're bigger than me, I know what to do, because I always had long arm. And growing up, I compared myself, as I said, I'm gonna be a post player one day in life. So I always looked at Patrick Ewing, Dikembe Mutombo, Alonzo Mourning, because I was a big Georgetown Warriors fan. Mm-hmm. So those guys always blocked shots. So that's what I wanted to do. So my goal was, since my mother was single, I wanted to play college basketball. Mm-hmm. So I just decided, like, I'm going to use this because I have the height, I can handle the basketball, I can shoot the basketball. I'm going to get my education paid for by playing this sport. And that's what it led to, really.
Yeah, so it wasn't you looked up senior year and realized you might be able to play. You had that goal pretty early on of like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, I had it pretty early. Like, mostly every kid that I played against in the neighborhood wanted to go to college and do something.
Yeah.
So my best friend, he was like a 20-minute drive from me, and we was rivalry growing up. Like, middle school, we played against each other. They beat us, we beat them. High school, both of us our freshman year in high school, He played varsity. I played varsity. I started varsity, and I was leading the state of Georgia in scoring, probably averaging 27 as a freshman.
That's nuts.
So
in high school specifically, that's nuts.
yeah,
Shorter games, and yeah, it's wild.
So, and then by me doing that as a freshman, and he was like one of my bigger competitors I was always competing against, and he was only averaging 10 points a game, 12 points a game. He had a great team. I had a bad team. But his thing was like he was getting more exposure than me his freshman year. Him and another guy from the area was averaging, the other guy was probably averaging like 4 points a game, but they were still getting media coverage of saying they were one of the best freshmen in the nation in the state of Georgia. So I was looking at it like, man, what's going on? Like, why am I not getting this recognition and everything? So after my freshman year, it didn't bother me as much because I just really wanted to go to college. And then by my sophomore year came, he was basically, it was the same thing. They was getting offers from Pitt, Florida, Georgia, Syracuse, Connecticut. And really they was already verbally committing to these schools. I was like, man, I'm still not getting this. I belong to this group of this class. And so after my sophomore year, I had to make a transfer and go to another high school, which was the hardest thing to do because my whole family went to that high school that we grew up in that small town. But basically, I want to play college ball, and I don't think that high school was doing it for me.
Yeah, and you were saying that was a sacrifice for your mom, your family too, right? To move and
yes, because my mom, she was a single parent. She worked hard. She had the job she had was 20 minutes from my house, but if we moved to the school location, it'd be like a 45-minute drive for her. So, I mean, she did make the move for me just because she knew I wanted to do that. And it was a neighborhood where, like, dude, if you got to live here, did I want to do it? I like, no, I think I would like stay home. But it was hard for her just because she did it for me. So I kind of paid the price later on to thank her for everything she did for me for making that move.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. And so then you make the move. You're playing now with these guys that you've been playing against for a while.
It was one of them. My best friend. It was great. We had a great run. We didn't get to win state just because we come from an area of a small town. And then once we leave that area, we going out to Atlanta where they picking more kids in the area by bigger cities than ours, communities. So it was hard for us to win state, but we were ranked ranked 1 and 2 as the top team in the state of Georgia for our junior and senior year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was good for us.
What then were the first couple looks you got from colleges after you made that move?
My first look was Coastal Carolina. It was a small D1, and I told my high school coach I'm ready to sign, and he was like, no, Red, we just gonna wait until, give it a couple more years. You're only a junior. I promise you'll get better. And then by the end of my junior year, going into my senior year, we played in these big Christmas tournaments. I started getting more calls from more schools, and by the spring of '95, I ended up signing with the Gators, Florida. Went to University of Florida.
So what led you to Florida? What was, I know you had interest from multiple different schools. What was it about Florida that felt like the right fit?
When I went on my visit to Florida, I mean, it's more family oriented.
Okay.
I mean, we went out to dinner. Their wives and kids was there. They just made me felt like it was home.
Yeah.
They were checking on me once a week like they supposed to. They was calling me once a week just to see was I coming on my visit or was I going to commit to Florida? Who else looking at me? It just felt family because I came from a small town where family is everything. So when I went on that visit, by all they family being there with us at dinner and going to the practice and going to the games, really was a good thing to make me sign them.
Very cool. Very cool. And so then walk me through the college season, because I know you had a goal, after this of potentially going professional at some point. So what were the next couple of years like for you?
My first year at Florida, was tough on me because coming out of high school, I started all 4 years. I was the guy, and then when you go to college, you're not that guy.
Yeah.
Because like everything, like I always relied on my talent to get me through high school. I never lift weights or anything. But once I got to college, I realized how weak I was and the other players. Everybody's 6'7". So I'm 6'7", weighing 185, going up against guys 6'7", 230. I'm like, this is gonna be a battle.
Wow.
I played about 5 minutes a game, which I wasn't mad about. But I was getting homesick because I wanted to play all the time because that's what I was used to. And my coach just like, look, I promise you everything's going to get better. Like, you just got to keep working. You got to get in the weight room. And then after that, the coach ended up leaving Florida. So I decided to leave. I wanted to transfer. And I mean, wanting to transfer, it was kind of hard because I wanted to go back home in my play, but my grandfather was like, I can't have you come back here because he was more like the father figure in my life. He's like, if I have you come back here and go to school, you won't finish and you'll get mixed up in the crowd that we don't want you to be. So the best thing you do is just stay at Florida. But I really didn't want to go there because the coach had left. So my high school coach had reached out to the guy from Syracuse, the assistant coach from Syracuse, who was recruiting me in high school. And he was like, well, I'm getting this job at Long Beach State. If I get it, do you want to come? I was like, sure, why not? I mean, it was a good transfer for me and everything.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the experience that you described of showing up freshman year and, now everybody's big, everybody's talented. I think that's actually transferable to a lot of different fields or skills that people have that when they, maybe it's a high school to college time frame or starting out a career of like, man, I might have had this talent or been known for this before, but now there's this next level that is, more is demanded of me, more committed work ethic, more discipline, and it's a culture shock, a big shift for a lot of people. And that I think is big to a part of your story, right? Because you were saying growing up, you love the game, you love playing all the time, but the intentionality of like weight room, working on it, that type thing, you were like, you had to learn that, you had to develop that, right?
Yeah.
How'd you describe that?
I definitely had to learn it once I was at Florida. They had me lifting every day. They had a guy going to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner with me. I mean, I go in there, grab 2 pancakes. He'll put 3 more on there. So it was more me learning how to eat more and lift weights. So it became a habit at Florida. And then when I transferred out to Long Beach, the comfort wasn't the same. So playing in the SEC and going to the Big West was a big change. So now I went back to my old ways where I can rely on my talent again. I don't have to lift these weights. And it maybe become lazy. And then by the time I was a junior and I was seeing the guy that I played high school with, he got drafted his junior year. And then I'm looking at it like, man, the class that got drafted with him, I played against all those guys. And I was like, man, I really gave those guys buckets. Like, I might need to rethink this thing. I need to start getting in the gym more. And that's when I realized that I wanted to do it because I didn't want to play professional coming out of college. I always wanted to be a coach. But when I seen those guys getting drafted and making millions and millions of dollars, I was like, man, I got to rethink this. And by the time I rethought it, I think it was a little too late for me.
Gotcha.
And everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then what happened at the end of your college career? How did you decide, like, okay, the game, I'm going to let it go for now and pursue what's next?
After I didn't get drafted, I thought I had a shot at getting drafted because I had a good senior season, but I was still weak. I was like 6'7", 205, 210. And I went to a few tryouts and everything, went to a few overseas trials, and I ended up pulling my ligaments and my groin and my hamstrings and both of my legs. And that kind of set me back for like 2 years. So after that, by me having a daughter in college, I had to either go to work or find something to do to support her and my wife. I started working with FedEx, and it was hard because every time I deliver a package, everybody like, man, you're tall. You should be playing basketball. I'm like,
get that everywhere you go.
Yeah, but I'm your favorite FedEx driver right now.
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard.
Yeah.
But
nobody's ever walked up to me and been like, man, you should be playing basketball. I've never gotten that before. So.
It was very hard. So
Yeah.
and then while working at FedEx, I was still having tryouts. I wasn't 100%, and then it just hit me. One coach like, you're not good enough. You're not strong enough. You're not in shape when you come to tryouts, and you just need to find a job. I was like, wow. Like he just told me straight up like that, respectful guy, and I took that to heart. Like I could have quit then, but my mentality like he don't know me.
Yeah.
My mentality was, I know I can play this game.
Yeah.
I know I can play at a high level. Those words when he told me I wasn't strong enough, I don't work on my game, that's what brought me to where I am today.
Yeah. No, tell me about him. How much of a relationship did you have with him? That feels like a defining moment. You know, the tough love kind of like, let me tell you like it is.
I only knew him for 1 day.
Wow.
He's like, it was Nate Archibald, the point guard for the Knicks back in the day.
Okay.
So we went to this camp, and he's like, dude, you're not fit for this. Like, you're not ready. Like, you can't play professional basketball. And I was like, man, for him to tell me that, I wasn't mad, but not at him for telling me. I was mad at myself because he was really right.
Wow.
Because I knew I wasn't in shape. I knew I wasn't strong enough, but I was trying to still use my talent to get me over on other people, which it didn't work.
Wow. It's so interesting how some people could hear that and just fold. Like some people, yep, that's me, that's my identity, like I'm gonna quit. Yeah. And then some people can hear that and respond like you did and be like, no, you don't know what's inside me, you know?
Exactly.
That's amazing. So that's a defining moment for you, right? There's a turning point there.
Yeah.
And so how did things start to evolve to where you're like, I might be able to play again?
Once I left that tryout, I really took the whole 2 years off.
Okay.
I worked for FedEx, delivering packages and everything. And I just really started working out, lifting weights, bought a weight set, put it in my house. Get home 10 o'clock at night, I lift weights. Or 10 o'clock at night, I go and play with some bunch of guys. My wife like, you really gonna play basketball at 10 o'clock at night? You gotta be at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like, yeah, I have to do it. Like, I don't wanna be a FedEx driver, so I got to make sure I'm ready when I get ready to go. So, and then I started in a semi-pro team here in Austin. There was a guy that took care of me. He's like, I must have this league come play for me, give me like $500 a week for playing 2 games, which wasn't bad because we didn't practice or nothing like that. We got seen in Mexico, and I got my first contract to play in Mexico. So it was like for like $3,000 a month. I mean, my mentality, like, you got guys making $8,000-$10,000 a month, and I'm better than them. So I turned down my first contract to go play because I just felt like I was getting cheated. But then talking to my best friend, he's like, dude, you haven't played in like 3 years. You have to start somewhere. And so my next year, a team from Mexico called me again. So I ended up taking it, and it just went from there and everything.
Wow. I'm still like so interested in that mindset shift because I think that's a thing for people to believe like I can change or I can change my mentality or my outlook. Yeah. Would you say like it's a combination of things like that tough love comment, working at FedEx, being like, this is what I want to do, seeing other guys be successful? Yeah. Like what would you say led to the like, okay, I'm going to attack this different 10 o'clock workouts? And
the thing was when the guy told me that I couldn't play. That I will never play professional basketball.
That's like the greatest gift you got.
That was the greatest gift that I got.
Yeah.
And the other one was when I tried out my first time for the Puerto Rico national team.
Okay.
And I got cut from that. because like I was still not in the best shape, and from that day forward, I was in the gym because stability. I was making money to help my wife take care of our daughter, take care of the bills, and I can go work out 2 or 3 times a day and still be okay and everything.
Yeah, I just find that so inspiring. And I think there's so many people watching that would be like, we believe so many things, like I'm already too old, that opportunity's already gone, you know, and a lot of people would have folded and thought that way.
Yeah.
And to be like, no, just today. Like, you know, I love that switch. I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
To backtrack just a little, because it's important to go with your family here. So you met your wife in college?
In college.
Okay, met her in college, and then, and how many daughters do you have?
I met my wife in college in '96 at Long Beach. She played volleyball. I played basketball. We had our first daughter in '98. We have a set of twins, and then we have a boy-girl twin. Then we have a younger girl. So we have 4 kids total.
4 kids total.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
So they playing basketball and volleyball. My youngest girl, she's volleyball and basketball. So they have to do one of those two in order to get a scholarship. They have to get a scholarship to get out of the house.
I love it. I love it. And did you say your wife is an athlete too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she played volleyball for 4 years at Long Beach State. She won a national championship. In '98, they went a perfect season, 33-0.
Oh my gosh, that's cool.
She played with Misty, made a professional
yeah,
volleyball.
100%.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's
that was
amazing.
Her setter. Yeah.
Okay, so you definitely have the athletic gene in your family. It's hard to escape that for you guys.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so then though you have now what ends up being a very long international career, and you're managing family, you know, kind of back and forth. How to have time with them? Do they come with? Do they not? Walk me through, you know, that season. Obviously, it was a long season, but maybe where you played and some of the highlights.
When I first started off playing, it was hard leaving them behind, and it was more hard on her because she was more like my mother. She's a single parent, even though we're married, but she's at home taking care of our daughter. So it was more hard on her because I thought I was doing a good thing by just taking care of the bills, which is not everything in a marriage that you're supposed to do. You got to have your partner with her. And I thank her every day because, like, she only probably spent 2 full seasons out of the 15 years with me in the countries that I played in. But she let me fulfill that dream because she knew how passionate I was about it and everything. So it was hard. Like, it was times where she wanted me to quit, and we argued about it. I was like, I can't quit because I put too much sacrifice in it, even though my marriage was one of the biggest sacrifices that I put in, but I promised that everything would be better once I was done playing. And I think it was. And then, like, in 2010, when our last kid was born, I had a surgery that stopped me from playing both, like, in Europe and Puerto Rico. So once that happened, I think being home for 6 months would start helping our marriage in 2010. Be like, okay, he's here for 6 months now. I know what to expect. And then he's gone for another 6 months. So I think she was getting better with that.
And that was a freak injury type moment, right?
Yeah,
like elbowed in a game, or
I caught an elbow in my side. That my intestine erupted, so I had to have emergency surgery. I was in Croatia playing, and like I was in ICU for like 3 days, and like not knowing nobody in Croatia, nobody speaking English, nobody's telling me what's going on.
Gosh.
2010, I went from that 6'7" kid, 230, back to that 6'7" kid that I was in high school at 190, and I was like, man, this gonna be hard for me to come back from. But after it happened, it happened around Christmas time. I got home in January, and started back playing in March. And
how long did it take you to build back?
It didn't take me long to get the weight back because most of that I wasn't eating for those 2 weeks when I was in Croatia. It was just really soup or broth.
Yeah.
But once I got home, I started eating good. That weight picked back up. So, and once I could lift and run, the hardest thing was to get back in shape. condition-wise, excuse me.
Yeah.
Get back in shape condition-wise. I wasn't too much worrying about the strength part because I knew that I still had that. I was older now, so I kind of had that grown man strength. So that would kind of help me out through that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Well, what would be a quick list of just all the countries you've played in? Because there was a pretty extensive group there.
I first started off in Mexico. I was in Argentina, Venezuela, Dominican, South Korea, Israel, Portugal. I've been to Japan, Turkey, Germany. I've been a lot of places.
That's wild.
Cyprus, Greece.
Yeah.
It took me a lot of places, and like just playing in those different places, it felt better. It wasn't the NBA, but I think it felt better than the NBA because I got to see more of the world than I probably never got to see if I played in the NBA.
Any relationship advice you have for long distance over that 15-year window? What were some things that y'all figured out to make it work?
I mean, it was hard, man. It was hard because like being married and not seeing your best friend every day, and then having a kid, not watch them grow. It was hard for me. Like, but she just stuck it out with me. She could have left me anytime, but I thank God she didn't because without her, she gave me the push to be where I'm at today.
Yeah. Wow.
And by me not seeing my older daughter grow up as much because I was traveling more, it's like once the twin was born, I was ready to stop because I didn't want to be that father what I was to my oldest because everything my oldest was, here you go buy this, here you go get that. Everything was money. It was never daddy love that I was giving her. It was me buying her things to make her feel special that daddy loved you by buying her things, which is not good. But once the twins was born, I just like, okay, I'm ready to retire. But at the same time, financially, we were just starting to get good at what we was doing. We had our bumps in the road, and we just prayed on it. And I mean, we're good now.
Wow.
Yeah.
She sounds incredible, the sacrifice, the support. And I appreciate, your vulnerability with those pieces too, because when we think about our kind of big win or goal with Story 512 is to inspire people to think intentionally about their own story. And sometimes when you're dreaming about what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, you're not always calculating at the same time, what's the personal cost and the sacrifice, what's the cost of my kids, what's the cost of my wife. Like all of that is a part of those equations. And for some people, they're going to land on, I should chase it. Others, they shouldn't, but it's very real and you've lived it, you've experienced it. So tell me about the championships, because there are a couple in 2 or 3, I think you said, right? What were those years like?
I won my first one in Dominican Republic, and I was like, when I first won, I was like, man, they really celebrating over here because they won a championship. It's not the NBA. I'm thinking everything got to be an NBA championship, but just seeing the passion from the city,
it's everything for them.
Everything for that city. Like they was happy about it, and then I was like, man, I felt happy then because like I was part of it. And then 2009, I won my first championship in Puerto Rico, and by mere experience what is in Venezuela, I really experienced that in Puerto Rico. I was like, yeah, I did it. Like I'm one of the greatest that put a banner on this wall. And by 2009, like the gym was packed for the championship game. Like it's like 12,000 people in the gym. We only hold 10,000.
Wow.
So it was people standing up and everything. So it was crazy.
Do they have crazier environments? Like I've seen some YouTube videos of like games abroad that it's like a soccer game or something over there. That's so much better than our fans here. They're like nuts.
It's wild over there, especially if you the opponent. If you're the visiting team winning on your opponent team, you're not going to make it out of there. Like you got to get security to get out of there. You're going to get beer bottles flying. You're going to get Coke thrown at you, everything. Everybody be throwing Coca-Cola bottles. They're going to throw everything they can. Trash cans coming down. Like it's crazy. Like they're going to boo you. Like, but that's the passion for the cities, though, especially if it's two cities close to close. Because in 2013, I won my second one over in Puerto Rico in a little small town, and I think it was like 40 years since the last time they won one.
Wow.
And man, the time we won that one, I mean, they shut the whole city down for like 2 days. They didn't do nothing but party, parade. Wasn't no stores open. The restaurant was open, but like local business, all those local business was shut down.
That's amazing.
And like if I go back there today, everybody was treat me with that same respect that they remember in 2013 and 2009.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It sounds like an incredible experience.
It is. It is.
So if we fast forward then a little bit towards the end of your playing career, I think you're referencing, the Twins young, I want to be home more. I think retirement's coming for me.
Yeah.
How did you make the decision that it was time to retire and move on to what's next?
All right. So by 2012, I think we moved out here to Leander.
Okay.
That's when I was home for like 6 months out of the year. So I started coming up here to the PAC to train kids and like started my little own training program. By being home for those 6 months, I was like, what's next? Like it's 2012, I'm ready to retire, but the money is not good what I want to do. Do I want to teach and coach? Or do I want to continue to plan for a couple more years just to see how that goes? So I ended up playing for 4 more years. But after 2013, when I won my last championship, I was really done. Like mentally, I was done. I was just really going to get the check. And then like going into my last season of 2016, the guy, Nelson Taroba, he had got a head coaching job in Canada. And I had been doing all the skill training, working the tryouts and everything. And he was like, they were like, do you want the job? I was like,
Here at Syntex, you're saying, right?
Syntex, here at the PAC. I'd like be the director. I like, yes. And so once he left, I was like, this is like heaven for me. Like, this is what I want right here.
Wow.
I mean, I get to train kids. I get to coach kids. I always wanted to be a coach. I like, hands down, I take it. Like, but I had signed a contract in 2016 to go play. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't come play. Like, I just got this job. And a lot of people was mad about it. But I was like, I was just setting myself up until I can find something that I really enjoy and really wanted to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. It does seem like a perfect fit for you.
Yeah.
And you had some amazing perspective on coaching from your experience that you were sharing with us that I wonder if you can recap a couple of the things that seem most important to you. You were talking about, I mean, even ways you view winning and losing, some of the things about work ethic, how would you describe, these are some of the core things I'm trying to pass on?
I always make sure kids don't be like me. Just because I always took the easy route, not the easy route, I took the lazy route because I relied on my talent. And that's what I preach to the kids. I'm like, y'all have all this. I didn't have all this growing up. You can come in here and lift weights anytime you want to. Y'all should, like, if you're in 8th grade, you should be lifting weights 2 or 3 times a week. If you're in high school, you should be lifting 4 or 5 days a week. You should be making 1,000 shots out of the week. I mean, those are the things you should, if you want to be a basketball player. I had a successful career. It could have been better if I just do what I tell the kids today.
Yeah.
If I did what I tell the kids, I'd probably been an NBA.
Wow.
But so every kid that come through here, even if they can't dribble a ball, I'm gonna make sure they learn how to dribble a basketball.
Yeah.
If there's something you want to do, you have to do it every day.
Yeah.
It's like whatever you want to be, you have to do it every day. If you want to be a doctor, you got to study this every day. Like, there's no ways around it. Like, I try to lay it down for them. Like, this is what you need to do. This is how you have to do it.
Yeah. I think that's so impactful coming from you. I mean, to build the career you did off of talent is unbelievable, But to have that vulnerability and humility with them to say like, hey, this is what I learned and to pass that on. I mean, it's so cool. I loved even, the way you described your team's so hardworking and stuff. If they'll take the court in warm-ups and the other team just assumes like, we're going to win, we look more talented, we look bigger, whatever. Those seem like some of your favorite, right? You're describing?
Yeah, because like, when I first started off, I had a group of kids, pale, probably non-athletic kids. I mean, not sounding like I'm raising a bunch of white kids from the suburban area.
Yeah.
Like Cedar Park, Leander, that's the only kids we get here. Like,
Right.
and I don't have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Because with my passion and my energy, I'm gonna put it into you to take what it takes to win. And we used to go to tournament, kids be like, yeah, we about to beat them by 20. They talking a lot of noise, and then once the ball goes up, we end up winning by 20.
Wow.
So I'm like, it don't matter what color you are, that ball is the same color.
Wow.
Don't matter who's playing this game. If you put into kids and believe in kids, I always think you'll give them an opportunity to compete and win. And once they buy in, it works. And they've been working probably since that 2020 class left. Everybody was like, okay, we don't want to play them no more. Because they feel like those kids are being coached and trained by just playing the game the right way. We're not just stepping on the court, going to just beat you off athleticism. We don't have that. And I don't need that. I just need I need kids that are going to work hard and play hard for me. That's it.
Wow. Well, with hearing your story and your perspective and mentality, like, I'm grateful you have influence over so many kids in the next generation here. You know, I love that's what's being passed down. I think it's incredible. You said there's like 32 teams, or how many teams are a part of?
We have 34 now.
34 teams.
Before I took over, they had like 16, 17 teams. And my thing is, everybody say you just get all these teams to collect money, but I don't see it like that. I get all these teams because I like to see kids play.
Wow.
And if I'm the head of the director or the board, I can probably tell you each kid's name that come through this program.
That's incredible.
And because I want to be hands-on with them, to like, I believe in you, you can do this. And that's why I have so many teams, because I believe in my work.
Wow.
And I believe in my coaches following me, whatever I want to do with this.
Well, you know from your own story that sometimes it can be one coach, one conversation that can set somebody on a whole different trajectory. So I love that you know at a personal level, you know, each of them and encourage that way. It's amazing.
If we get the more court space, I'm gonna get more teams, because I like to see kids play. I don't care about the winning part of it, because I think that'll come later. Because if you got a kid who didn't make his middle school team the first year, but he make it the second year, even as his B team, I win.
Yeah.
I win because he made a team that he never thought he would make.
Wow.
And I tell him, like, don't give up on your dream just because you had one bad situation in it. Because if I had to listen to that coach, I could have lost off on a lot of things in life.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think in closing, and if it would just be more of what you already said, that's fine. I'm wondering if there's just any other kind of lesson you'd leave us with, because what's unique about your story is you have both accomplished your dreams and you have dreams that you feel you missed on. Like, you've got both of those in your story, you know, some incredible successes and some no's and some setbacks. And so I'm just curious, somebody who is thinking about pursuing a dream, in the middle of pursuing a dream right now, anything that you would, you know, pass on from your life experience to encourage somebody here?
To me, well, I'm still living my dream, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because just watching the kids grow, especially watching my kids grow, and it's like, it's a dream come true. I'm a coach, which I wanted to be, and I'm coaching 340 kids.
Wow. Yeah.
That's one of the biggest
big
universities
team.
ever.
Yeah.
Of a coach. So, so I'm really still living my dream. My dream is just to make sure these kids get out of here wanting to play basketball at a higher level. I mean, this might be the best job ever. It's better than playing professionally, really.
Wow.
Because, like, I mean, just being in the gym, doing what you love, doing what you play, it just brings happiness to me when I come in the gym. And you can see the changes of directions of the players in this organization, way things are going.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man. Well, I'm so impressed by, your whole career, especially what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful you gave us the time to sit down with us today, inspire a lot of people. So
No,
Really means a lot. Really appreciate it.
no problem. Thank you.
Sure.